Classic Hollywood heartthrobs were way more wild than you think. 1. Clint Eastwood once survived a plane crash. When he was just 21, serving in the U.S. Army, he was on his way back from visiting his friends in Seattle when the plane he was in crashed into the ocean. After struggling through the current, which repeatedly threatened to drag him under, he ultimately made it to safety. Eastwood recounted, "Everything went wrong. Radios went out, oxygen ran out, and finally, we ran out of fuel up around Point Reyes, California, and went in the ocean. So we went swimming. It was late October, November, very cold water. I found out many years later that it was a white shark breeding ground, but I'm glad I didn't know that at the time, or I'd have just died." 2. Sean Connery almost wasn't James Bond because the author thought he was an overgrown stuntman. As it turns out, Connery almost lost the role, thanks in no small part to the antipathy of the author Ian Fleming, who wrote the original novels. Among other things, Fleming derided Connery for being an overgrown stuntman. Fortunately, after seeing the star on screen, Fleming actually decided he liked Connery's performance. In fact, he even allowed his depiction of Bond in later novels to be influenced by Connery. 3. Michael Caine was mistaken for a drug dealer at a VIP party in the Philippines. In a particularly funny story, the venerated actor was actually mistaken for being a drug dealer while shooting in the Philippines. As he recounted to Graham Norton, "And we were invited to this very, very posh, expensive house to a party. And I'm being introduced to people and getting a drink and all that, and the hostess is standing over there, and she's looking at me rather nastily, considering that I'm a guest. I went over to her, and she said, 'Are you a drug dealer?' I said, 'No, why do you ask?' She said, 'Why is everyone calling you my cocaine?'" 4. Paul Newman had a cut in his house. Newman revealed that the bond between him and his wife was as sexual as it was emotional. In fact, Woodward even coined a term for their newly painted bedroom, the cut. Their daughter, Clea Newman Soderland, later described her recollection of the setup. To get into their bedroom, they had one ordinary wooden door and then also a really thick door, and both locked on the inside. It was a very sexy relationship. It wasn't a fairy tale, but he was really, really in love with Mom.